Welcome back to Dum-Dums and Dragons, where improvisers who've never roleplayed before journey into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. I am the Grand Wizard Bukake, your host. Our heroes are bringing fire and destruction to multiple circles of hell. Quinny and Reginald torched a stationary pile, while Butthole and Juniper helped Moonhammer defeat a Hydra before they were attacked by gods that had been killed by Butthole as the Forsaken. Can our heroes survive battling gods and the King of Hell? Find out next on Dum-Dums and Dragons.
Quinny, you and Reginald have arrived at what used to be Peeps on the Cheaps, but is now slightly discounted, lower quality beverages as managed by Peeps. A bar with the same facade as you remember, and I'm thinking like just classic, Irish pub kind of like an unnecessary amount of wood paneling on the outside, like just every effort taken to make it seem classy. There's Celtic knots on both sides of the sign for some reason, but the sign itself has been replaced by what you would imagine you might see in like an Apple store. So just like a gray sign with just a very clean serifed font, just as clear and functional as it can possibly be. It's all left justified, which is vaguely unsettling, but like there it is. You can see that there is a massive filing cabinet building built up and around it, but the bar itself seems to be somewhat intact. Reginald, what are you finishing saying as the two of you land, based on your hero sidekick debacle of our previous episode?
Okay, so realistically, a sidekick could also become a hero, and that makes sense from my journey. So maybe this is like a team up.
Yes, it's a team up. Reginald, land here, please.
Okay, here we go. And then he just falls the last 5 feet because his magic ran out. You're both slammed onto the ground.
Great. So Quinny, you bounce kind of up and out of his arms into no doubt a cool pose. And the two of you are down. Now that you're on ground level, it's not all of Manhattan is like this, but there are parts of Manhattan where you just kind of feel like everything around you is a giant. And it very much feels like that. There's just the sky is sort of a constant gray here. That sort of light gray cloud situation that you get. We're still very bright, but just a little off because there's no sun that you can see. The light source doesn't seem to exist. It's just kind of a uniform light gray that you can barely see through the towering stacks around you. But ahead of you is the bar, somewhat familiar if oddly renamed. What do you do?
Is there a door to this place, or is it just like a door frame? Like how bad is this? Has the transformation of this place affected the existing buildings?
In terms of this facade, it would seem that the facade is fully intact. So there is like the same door you remember. It's all still there. The signage has been replaced and everything around it has changed. Looking from what you can see, and the windows are unfortunately done in that Cheers style where they're like the diamond pattern in a variety of colors. So you can't really see fully through. But it does seem as though the bar is still there, if slightly altered. So it's not like it's gone completely. It's more like they retained what they could of it and then built up and around it.
Okay. Then I'll go to the door and I'll march inside.
Great.
I guess I'll follow. And then Reginald's head, he's like, he has a ring of invisibility. Why does he never use this to scout? I did the whole time.
And with that, the two of you march into the bar. As you step inside, Quinny, you are struck by the fact that it's the same space. They've clearly built around it, but it has been overhauled. Everything is a lot more orderly. There are a lot more clean lines everywhere. The place is much cleaner, although there is kind of paper up and around. At the bar, everything is done in grays and whites. The Apple Store motif continues in here. Slick rounded edges, just very sleek, but at the same time very sterile. There's not a lot of character, whereas before it was very much a classic like local pub and bar that had been open for a really long time. So just like, all sorts of crazy crap on the walls, as Mo would say. Whereas now it's very much not that. You see at the sitting at kind of the bar stools lining this very slick, blindingly white bar. You see a couple of off-duty shredders who have their kind of hoods unzipped and their helmets sitting kind of next to them on the bar. You can see that they're Hellions, so they're lesser demons, imps, that sort of thing. And they're drinking from silver glasses, so they're not even goblets. They're just kind of think almost like a Nalgene bottle, but if it was made of silver. So just very, very, again, functional, but kind of blatant. No embellishment anywhere, seemingly. There's also a couple other demons and fiends sitting around. You don't see any damned souls, which is strange because this place used to kind of be a mixing spot for various people down here. And behind the bar in a suit, which is extraordinarily strange on such a creature, is Peeps McFadden, who is the edges of his lips are sort of pulled down into a sort of a permanent frown. And his one massive eyelid is drooping in a somewhat defeated fashion as he goes around pouring drinks for the various people who are there. Over the speakers in the bar, you hear an incredibly inoffensive song on a constant loop. Laura, what is the inoffensive song that is playing nonstop in this bar?
I think it's like it's S Club.
God.
Like they're I don't know what's like their main song, like S Club,
I think it's just
except that
it's
like the entire name of the bar instead of S Club. So they're just like fitting it in.
Okay,
like it's,
great.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that, and I think we can say that it's also.
I can't remember the name of the bar. It was so fucking long.
I didn't write it down either. I think Tyler maybe did. But it's also done in a like it's not S Club singing it. It's definitely one of those weird covers that's done.
It's one of those kids beats where it's all children in a
Like,
choir.
Yeah, close to that, where it's very choral and like the mood isn't like there's no pulsing beat to it. It's just kind of like a soft, like it's just like wet paper. It's just like a weird like, hey, like it's kind of like that song, right?
Yeah.
It's like when people try and do like the soft pop version of like metal songs, and they're like, isn't this nice? And you're like, no, neither of these styles benefits from this.
It's like if the producers of that Cars for Kids ad took ketamine.
Speaking of, there is an amazing version of Billie Eilish's Bad Guy done by Kid Bops, where they have to take all the sexual references out. So rather than bruises on both my knees for you, it's kisses on both my cheeks from you, which is pretty funny. This thing lives rent free in my head. I think about it easily twice a day. I can't fucking fathom that they did this. And later there's like a might seduce your dad type is replaced by like have an IOU or something. Like it's some like weird contract lingo about like I'll owe you one. It's bananas. I love it. Anyway, That's what's playing in this bar. It is immediately unsettling in a non-threatening way. You notice that as you enter, there are a number of signs instructing you about the various policies of the bar. The drink minimum, what the customary tip is, where the bathroom is located, that the bathroom is for customers only, that you need to just get a number from the bar before you go and sit at a booth so that people will know you're there. There doesn't seem to be a server beyond Peeps. All in all, it seems like a very systematized place for good times, which, as you know, from ever going to a place that tries to elicit good times, having a bunch of systems, not really the way to do it. But he just kind of absently waves a hand, says, yeah, grab a number.
And I'll just say, Peeps McFadden?
And S Club, there's like a record scratch. And he turns to look at you with his one giant eye. And suddenly his eye lights up somewhat. Given that he's mostly eye, it's very easy to see when he's excited. And he just kind of like tries to do one of those subtle, like darts his eyes to a booth. But given that he's mostly eye, it's just like a massive orb tilting, like his whole body kind of shifts with it. And one of the shredders of the bar turns around and is like, yeah, I think he wants you to go sit in that booth. We won't listen, though, if you guys want to talk or something. Honestly, I'm just so tired of shredding paper. As Buddy starts patting him on the back and just giving him a little rub and be like, it's okay. We have at least another 28 and a half minutes before we have to go back to the paper. So let's just enjoy it, pal. Let's live in the moment. And Peeps is like, yeah, okay, kind of what they're saying. Just go sit in the booth. I'll be over soon. Fuck.
All right. Sounds good.
So you pull into the bar.
Yeah.
You are happy that no one has yelled your name.
Oh God, yeah.
And no urchins want you to be their leader this time. So really, it's a net gain for old Quinny. The two of you sit down, and moments later, Peeps joins you, kind of slamming down 3 flagons. Now these are the flagons you remember, Quinny. They're made of damned skulls. They scream when they hit the table, and you can see Peeps just kind of like smile to himself and close his eye and kind of give it like a little yum 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 as he does it. And he's like, I have missed the sound of a proper beverage. Hello. Who's your friend here?
This would be Reginald Tingler.
Reginald.
Hello.
This is Peeps McFadden.
Nice to meet you, Peeps. We're here because things are kind of shitty and we have a mission. Quinny says you're useful.
I mean, I hope to be to the hitman for hell. Did you kill that Moonhammer lady?
I did not. That was actually news to me. I've been up on the surface there, champ. I've been in the realm of the living.
You got out?
Oh yeah. I got out with a friend of mine. Matter of fact, have you seen a guy who looks kind of like Reginald here? A little bit chunkier, bigger beard.
Yeah, he shakes his
less menacing armor.
I was gonna say he shakes his head, but that's not really true of his anatomy. He shakes his body, and in a no, and he just says, "No, we haven't seen any mortals down here in a while. Actually,
Damn, really?
Part of the reason business has been so bad.
Yeah, what's going on here? This place used to be jumping.
Yeah, jumping was outlawed by the Lord of Many Faces. He said it was too disruptive. So I had to take Jump off the jukebox. Weddings down here suck now. There's just no song that everyone can agree on anymore.
So, like, what's up with all the paper? Because it seems like you guys are waging an eternal war. You're losing against paper, which is weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to Mr. Brown Barrow's assessment over here, things have changed down here. And he kind of like tries to lean in conspiratorially, but given that his mouth is under the table, he just kind of like bumps his eye against it, and he's so bad at being conspiratorial, so he has to kind of like lean and kind of like get his like gut up on the table so he can whisper. And he's just like, since the one of many faces became the boss man down here, well, he's trying to lock up all the various contracts. You see, it seems he's rather concerned with the legalities of things. So we're kind of doing, I guess, some of his back end accounting. But he's really he runs a tight ship.
This is all his accumulated paperwork you guys are managing?
Well, I mean, yeah.
God damn.
Mr.
So, like,
Brown Barrow, do you not know where his power comes from?
I mean, not entirely. I know he just basically gets people to sign infernal contracts into servitude. Like, I know kind of like my piece of his whole deal.
Yeah. No, he if the rumors are to be believed, he's the god of bargains, of devil's bargains.
God of, oh my God.
Wait, so like what happens if we just like burn all the paper? Then he's fucked, right?
No, I'm afraid that's not how it works down here. I mean, he's got it all ironclad. Honestly, we're just keeping better records. All the deals have already been struck. But no, he draws power from everyone who's ever accepted one of these contracts in any form from anyone, not just him.
Okay, so what if we
Reginald and I might share a look there. It's like, oh. We're
Listen,
both on
I signed with that
contract.
lady.
I think that counts.
Maybe I don't know. So if we kill him, then it all goes away, right? Because then contracts null and void, dead guy.
No, not quite. It's gotten to a point where he can't die. He actually figured out some contract work for that. It was fascinating from what we were told from the monthly newsletter that we all have to read. There's really not enough information for a month. It should be bi-monthly at best, but like we got to read it. It's exhausting.
Well, look, this is hell, so it's got to be full of, lawyers. Who's the best contract lawyer second to, the Lord of all contracts?
You guys have Johnny Orkran down here? He was really big on my world.
Those Mr. Brown Barrow, I'm surprised you don't know. Those were the first people he had killed. There was a little dragony guy, and there was like a little blue guy, and some others. Yeah, he had them just go around and knock out anyone who might be a threat.
So how long ago was that?
He just like raises his tiny little ripped arms. He's like, time doesn't work really too well down here. It was a while back. Right. He offed Moonhammer a while ago. But he also moved quickly. I think he's been accumulating power for some time. Man, if you mortals would just stop taking those contracts, it wouldn't have had anything. But like, I guess that's something y'all are really into because like he did this real fast. Like he put how do we fucking tower up like overnight?
How do we find out if Johnny Orkran's still alive? Because then we could kill him and then he'd be here, right? Like we could just cut out the middleman.
Well, I mean, and he kind of looks left and right again, but at this point he's kind of like up on the table, so he's just kind of rolling back and forth awkwardly and just seeing the ceiling and the floor. It's not really helping too much. He's like, look, the one of many faces is pretty anal about contract keeping. So if you need information about things that have happened, your best bet would be the archive.
Okay. So if we go to the archive, we can figure out who's the best lawyer we either have access to or can murder to get access to. And then we go to arbitration. What the fuck happens to defeat a contract?
And he just kind of like raises his arms and he's like, if I knew that, do you think I would be running this? I've had to listen to this song for several lifetimes, it would seem. It turns out there's no party like a party you could have here, but the parties here suck now. So that's hell. Also, okay. It lists a bunch of names of people I don't know. I don't know if they'd be good guests or not, but I hear them every day. I've come up with backstories for all of them.
So, Quinny, how do we find the criminals or the rebellion? Because it sort of sounds like there isn't one from this guy.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed here, Peeps. It's not like there's nothing.
There's Joe. He's got the flow. Get ready, everybody, and here we go.
Is there some kind of resistance?
And say, "Come back to me, Peeps. Come back to us."
Oh, I'm sorry. I got lost. For a second.
Forget Joe. We need to find rebels or something.
Yeah, no, there was, but they all seemed to go quiet when Moonhammer died.
Where were they when they went quiet?
Yeah, that actually makes them sound smart.
I mean, I heard rumors and whispers, but honestly, I don't know. Again, guys, your best bet's the archive. I just run this bar and listen to that fucking song.
Okay, so if we go to the archive, we can look for Moonhammer and we can try to find the best lawyer in existence.
Yeah. Also, I mean, you'll be able to find information about contracts there. I mean, he's meticulous. He's got people working 24/7. Just to make sure everything's up to date. So you might be able to find if you're looking for any specific information, it's there. But I gotta warn you, it's part of the Citadel. It's the seat of his power. It's a dangerous fucking place to go. So you gotta be real careful.
Is there like a super important, like knowledgeable person where like that's the chief librarian of contracts? If you were going to punch someone until they told you a story,
Yeah,
that guy's
someone we
story would
could
be good.
Put the screws to.
Look, guys, I just run a humble bar on the outskirts of town. I used to be a mover and a shaker, but now I just serve these assholes. And they're like,
All
hey,
right,
I'm like,
all
you
right,
know you're
Peeps.
assholes. And they're like, we yeah.
You see how you scum.
Yeah.
I'll pat Peeps on the shoulder there and say, well, look, thanks a lot for helping us out as much as you did. I know this hasn't been easy for you. You know anything about I mean, there's an obvious way to get into the archives, and then there's the kind of less obvious ways, right? Do you know about any of those?
And he just says, I mean, yeah, look, one of the problems with this many contracts is, paper gets affected by a lot of stuff. And pests are a real problem down here. I mean, you remember how it was under Duella. There were fucking centipedes with knives for hands and all sorts of weird shit. And I mean,
I do remember that.
Moonhammer, she ran a different kind of ship. It was actually kind of a pretty good party down here for a bit, if I'm being honest. But a lot of those critters, they didn't die. They just kind of left for a bit. And every so often, those pests get at the books in the archive, and it's a big fucking problem. So all I'm saying is some exterminators might be a good way to get in there, because they come and go pretty frequently to make sure that nothing's eating their way through the books. Because
that makes a lot of sense. It was one of the generals of the Horde, Pablo Elfobar, and he used to lose millions of dollars a year from rats eating his money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man, I wish I had enough money to get eaten by rats. That would be nice.
Okay. And what, these exterminators, they're freelance, or is there like a specific company that
I mean they
hire out to?
The Lord of Many Faces. But there, as I understand it, they've got a sort of a central terminal nearby. It's at the corner of, and he just like lists off a Dewey Decimal, fucking like 2 Dewey Decimal type addresses, and he's like, they're over there. They're called the Preservers of Knowledge.
The exterminators are called the Preservers of Knowledge?
Yeah, man, when you write everything down on
books,
physical
okay.
paper, that's what they do. You might have noticed everything's a little bit more literal down here now, so...
A little bit, yeah. The filing cabinet buildings is a little on the nose.
Yeah.
I turn to Reginald and I say, okay, look. So we go to these Preservers of Knowledge. We get ourselves 2 exterminator uniforms. We go in for a routine pest extermination. And that gets us into the archives. We might have to take one of their
carts or whatever they have, right?
I mean, yeah, we'll see if we need to take their tools or whatever it is look, in my experience back here, I mean, this was a different place, but exterminating a centipede with knives for hands was to just fucking fight it with magic and swords and shit. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Powerful warlocks.
I think we're already
at the Preservers of Knowledge. Yeah.
I think in that sense, we're already equipped for the job. We just need the uniform to get past the front gate.
Great. So we'll uniform up and then we'll go do that. That makes a lot of sense. I have another idea, and you're not going to like it, but I think it's very smart.
You're not helping yourself on this pitch so far, but let's hear it.
Listen, we've already walked down a very honest path together, and I'm not going to start politely lying now. Here's the thing. You are very sneaky, and we know something's going to go wrong. I am not sneaky at all. You're sneaky on your own. I am terrible. But you have a ring of invisibility that I imagine you're excited to use because you'll be like a ghost. But then I'll be useless and we'll both get murdered. I think you should give me your ring of invisibility so we can both sneak around.
Can you be quiet?
I don't know.
Because being invisible will only get you so far if you're still clanking around in your armor and stuff like that.
Listen, I can only do better than I'm currently doing. And if I'm invisible, it will logically be better. I could stand still and not get caught if someone was to look around. Right now, I'm just completely fucking useless.
All right, so uniforms, I give you the ring. That's the backup? Is that the idea?
Well, then if we get inside and shit goes wrong, we could try to sneak, right?
Yeah, all right. Sure. Look, I haven't really got a chance to play around with this thing yet. I'm going to hang on to it until we get the uniforms.
That's fine. I wore it a bunch as you, and it's pretty great.
Super. Peace, what do I owe you for the drinks?
Says, honestly, for you, Mr. Brown Barrow, they're free. I'll put them on the one of many faces tab.
I like that a lot. Then 2 more for the road.
And he's like, come on, Horatio, more booze in your head. And he takes the skull mug back and fills it, slams it down, it screams. And he's like, oh, right, 2. And he runs back and he gets the other one. Says, well, honestly, I got to tell you, I wish you all the best. It would be really nice for things to go back to the way they were around these parts. Reginald and Quinny, can you roll me an insight check?
It's a good roll. Insight plus 0. 18.
Woo!
And I have a 18 as well.
He doesn't quite sound genuine.
He doesn't quite sound genuine when he says it would be good for things to go back to the way they were.
Yep. He says it gregariously, classic bartender, slapping you on the backs, shoving beers at you. But something just catches Reginald, for you as a coward who is constantly worried about dying. Something kind of ticks for you.
You guys gonna rat us out is where Reginald's brain will immediately run to, which is like if we
I think when he still considers him a friend, so he's like back to the way they were. But what would demons and hellions would trash your bar every night?
Yeah, it was the best. Good times.
I distinctly remember you saying you would rather have your fingernails pulled out one by one than having to clean up after another rager.
I mean, that was before I ended up in this weird, overly designed hellscape, though,
So, Peeps, this is an awkward question I'm going to ask you, but how do we know you're not going to sell us out to the one of many faces to try to make your life slightly better?
What? Can you roll me we're doing an opposed check. This is another insight check, please.
Just from Reginald or from both of us?
From Reginald, because he's asking the question.
Here's a question, Tom. Could I ask it in a menacing way? Because I don't think he's really trying to figure out whether or not he is. I think he's leaning for spooky leverage on why this is a bad idea.
No, okay, yeah, sure. I'd buy that.
Oh, well, fuck me anyways. That's a 10.
Cool.
So Reginald says that, but he spills his beer on his own crotch.
It's fine. I got a 3, so
Oh, good.
It comes to a 6. He's like, what? Come on, me, Peeps McFadden. Mr. Brown Barrow is my favorite customer. I would never do that. Why would I do that?
See, here's the interesting thing about my knowledge of cowards, Quinny. There wasn't actually a reason in there, which means he's definitely planning to sell us out to the one of many faces the moment we leave.
No. Come on.
Hold on, just shut up shut up, Peeps. I was the Lord of Many Faces professional killer for a while there. And then I went into retirement. And now I kill people recreationally. And let me tell you right fucking now, mister, if you rat us out, I will come back here for the fun of it.
And he just kind of nods and he says, hey, everybody, sorry, but drinks at slightly less than the standard rate served by someone named Peeps is closed for the evening. These fine gentlemen are going to chain me up in here, I think. So if you could finish your drinks and leave and don't tell anyone or they'll come for you. Actually, you know what? Just chain them up too. Whatever you need to do. I'm sorry, Mr. Brown Barrow. I really am, but we all serve in his name now.
You signed a contract.
What? Yeah, I did, though. I did.
Oh,
it's the only way I was able to keep my bar.
Reginald's just going to get up and lock the door and be like, everybody in the corner. We're going to need some fucking chains.
And one of them is just like, you see, this is why we should have gone to close acquaintance James's rum shack down the road. I'm just telling you. And they get shoved into a closet. And Peeps is like, I'm real sorry, Quinny. Things are real bad down here. I gotta look out for old Peeps because if no one else will.
I'm looking out for you, Peeps. You stay here. You don't tell anyone, and you'll be fine.
No, okay. I'll try to remember that when the one of many faces tortures me to death.
He's not going to be around to do that.
Okay, sure.
All right, so we chain them up in the corner, and then Reginald will grab Quinny and walk him over to the other corner and be like, okay, so it's time to have like a hard conversation. There are a bunch of them. We have no idea what magic they can do or if those chains will actually hold them. If we leave, they're definitely going to fuck us over, because if I was them, I would fuck us over, because our odds are really long and the odds of bad things happening to them here are very high. Like, someone knocks on this door in 2 hours, they're going to tell the whole fucking story. The horde in me says, make them all go pop. The sidekick in me says, we should have a conversation.
I appreciate that. I don't, it doesn't feel right to just kill these people. These people are just having a drink. They're bound by contracts that I'm sure they didn't understand. It's how he tricks everyone.
Yeah, but like, you're bound by a contract and you're not here going, oh, it's a hard life. Let's backstab people trying to save us. I just want to point out that there's a strong moral difference between you and them.
I don't know about that. You know, I mean, Peeps is a pal from the old days. Like, this is probably a lesson you maybe only had to learn once in your whole horde verse kind of thing, and it was probably hard to learn at that time, and you've carried it with you ever since. But giving people the benefit of the doubt, when it bites in the ass, it probably bites hard. We got to give these guys the benefit of the doubt. That's going to be part of not living in the horde universe. You know, you have to do it sometimes. You have to do it more than once, even when it comes back on you. You have to give them the chance to prove that they're better than you think they might be.
Okay, but we're agreeing that when this goes bad and it bites us in the ass, I get to say that I told you so, and you have to agree that I told you so.
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
Okay, because you could doom all of hell by trusting this weird one-eyed guy and the terrible bar team.
All of hell is already doomed. This is not what hell is supposed to be like. I need you to understand how unhellish this is.
No, that's what I'm saying. I understand that. We want to go back to the good hell, which was the fire and the torture, I think. That's the good hell.
There was
if
a
we
circus.
fail, it stays this.
Yeah.
It doesn't go back to good.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And
well, you guys, you better really look out for Quinny over here, because I wanted to murder you all. But Quinny said no, so clearly we're trustworthy.
And they're like, wait, what now? And with that, you chain the door shut. And as the two of you walk away, Quinny, knowing that you've imparted some wisdom to Reginald about what it is to not
see how wise it was in a couple hours
in that world, and Reginald deciding that you're going to actually trust your quasi friend rather than your instincts. The two of you walk away from the bar feeling pretty good about the progress you've made. At which point, a blast of heat hits your back as an explosion rips the bar apart. And as you turn to the flaming mess, Vex walks out dusting her hands, and she's like, "Took care of it, boys. Don't worry. No one's ratting anyone out. Who's got a high five for Vex?"
Reginald does.
Reginald...
Quinny says, just pointing disappointedly.
And I think Reggie's like, I can't give you the high five for that. Sorry, that was something we were against. But then he looks to Quinny and he's like, but here's the thing. Now we did the right thing and we got the good thing. I understand why you're into this hero game. This really pays off. Where you're like, I won't murder those people and they die anyways. You know, fate supports us is what I'm saying.
And behind you, you just hear Vex high five herself and be like, benefits of two hands. Meanwhile, the dead gods of the Donker body are leaping into combat against Moonhammer, Juniper, and Butthole. Now, Butthole, you've expressed that you don't necessarily want to fight these dead gods that you murdered in your other self. Moonhammer and Juniper, you don't know these assholes from a hole in the ground, but they also don't necessarily seem evil, just like they legitimately have a grudge. Juniper, this was all before your time, so you've probably heard stories, but you also...
Yeah, I'm sure
you never
Bucky
met the
gave you a
Donker
good
body.
recounting.
Yeah, I feel like Bucky just told you the whole thing like several times. But I'm curious, Butthole, do you try and engage them in combat, or do you try and talk them down?
Okay, so they're coming at him, not at Moonhammer, because
this is just a vengeance piece against the Forsaken.
He's like hammer in hands. He's not stupid. He's got to get Moonhammer set up. He could
far be it for us to say that the fart cleric is stupid. We would never imply that.
No, he's a genius. So I talked with Tom. So I used hit dice during that short rest in the arena. Just I asked off air because that's what I would have done. So, but he's like, whoa, guys, we don't need to do this whole business. That was the Forsaken, and I'm so sorry. So what if we all just are friends? That was a bad time in my life, and I'm glad you still exist. I was really worried that didn't happen, and I prayed a lot to this one. She's very generous. Maybe we get her through prom. You guys could join her team, help run hell, huh?
The bearded lady whips her beard spikes at you as you're talking. Roll a dex save, please, or a con save if you just want to like take the thrashing, but slightly less bad.
Add 3.
Yeah, I'll do the con version. That is 23.
Great. So you just kind of like raise an arm, and her like barbed beard like whips against it, and then she like yanks back, and you just kind of like hold your arm out, and the beard kind of flutters off. It's a beard. It's not really that strong.
Like, hey, let's use our words. Use your words here.
And she just says like, listen, I was so close to forming a proper Church of the Bearded Lady. You know, I'd been a god up there for a long time, and no one was paying any attention to bearded ladies, and I was damn close, for you had to come and chop my fucking head off. So fuck you, and fuck that little guy who was with you. I don't know where he is, but he's next. Go ahead and roll a persuasion check, Ryan, please. Or we could call it a straight charisma save.
We can go with persuasion. It's the same number. The answer is 14.
Some of the gods are muttering, though. They're looking at Moonhammer, and Moonhammer does look impressive. Moonhammer, what are you doing right now during this this little scuffle and talk?
I am straightening up my toga that had gotten a little bit disheveled from the earlier fight. I am kind of dusting off my head, polishing it maybe a little bit, making sure it's nice and shiny again. Also flexing a little bit.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Maybe get my veins to pop out a little bit more.
Okay,
Just
no, I like that.
Make myself a little bit more impressive in case, we need to get it, in case there's a little rumble going on here.
I feel like Bunny Hops is doing the caddy thing where he's just like rubbing wax into cloths for you and handing them off. Like he's got a little like side satchel of like head polishing cloths. And it's just like drop one down, he picks it up, hands you a new one. But the fact that you're flexing and kind of primping and priming a little bit, I think means that you do actually look hella impressive right now. And also kind of like you don't care, which is a major like cool kid move. So there's a few like the god of finger puppets is like using his finger puppets to talk to his fellow gods, and they're like, "Oh, I think it's pretty good. Oh, I agree. It seems like a pretty good plan. Well, I don't know. She seems very impressive. Look, she's got hammers for hands." And everyone is just ignoring him because they hate him. But he's part of their gang, and a blood oath is a blood oath. They still seem angry, but slightly less so, almost as though you've passed one of the necessary checks, Ryan.
Great. So here's what I'm thinking. Let me make it up to you. There's a way everybody can win here. On Butthole Fudge, I find ways for everybody to win. So Moonhammer's going to God Prop, which is great because we're going to make Moonhammer the new goddess of everything. She's going to be amazing. And one of the things they always say is if you're having trouble starting your own church, you just become an aspect of another church. So what if we make you for the Moonbeams, which will be like a part of it. So like bearded ladies will become part of the Church of Moonhammer, a special kind of aspect. That way you get promotion and Moonhammer gets promotion and we all work together through God Prom and Moonhammer's a goddess and we love the goddess and we could also love you.
The god of sick gnome abs rubs his hands up and down his sick gnome abs.
God,
and he says, yeah, honestly, guys, no one was really paying too much attention to gnome abs before, so getting in on this Moonhammer thing might be just what it needs, for people to get ripped like me. There's some nods, there seems to be some general assent. Moonhammer, that you're trying to get home and that you may not be here anymore in the long run. Do you chime in? And if not, like if you're not going to correct Butthole, do you think you'd be okay with the god of finger puppets, the god of sick gnome abs, the god of donkeys, and the god of bearded ladies being aspects of Moonhammer in your church in Faerun?
I guess my primary goal is really like I'm super focused on that. So I'm probably not going to correct him at this point because I know that it's really, really crucial that I need to achieve my goal. Otherwise, none of this will matter anyway. So I got to do what I got to do to get to my goal.
I like it. So yeah, it's that classic like time traveler thing where it's like, well, I can kind of like it's the Terminator thing. Where it's like we can actually kill whoever we need to in the past because if we don't, Judgment Day will kill everybody. So so great. Yeah. So you're gonna let that go. So I think you give them your trademark slight nod of approval as you did to Butthole. They all gain the effects of bless on their next rolls.
Butthole is subtly sad because he realizes everyone's getting them now.
Lots changed.
Did this to yourself.
So you're now up 2 for 3. Now there is one catch here, of course, Butthole, which is the god of donkeys was personal. This was vengeance for the donkey wars and the atrocities that you witnessed and admittedly committed during the Battle of the Grey Water Syndicate and the donkey armies. You watched a lot of bleak things happen that day. The hee-haws of their forces still
watching donkeys carry women and children away to the death camps.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was a hell of a thing. Are you really willing to let the god of donkeys, whose name was evoked in the battle hee-haws of the donkey berserkers, to enter your pantheon and become an aspect of Moonhammer?
I think it would be an idea that would seem tough, but he'd realize that like that's pretty redeeming. And if he could bring the donkeys back, that could probably help a Goblin Jr. and like other people who've had rough donkey times, and like he could probably save that nation. What?
Hot ass?
Our sweet departed donkey.
We do like hot ass. And I think the big thing is it's also subtly, it would also be a win because it means that the donkeys have to admit that Moonhammer is their real goddess. So like it also lets him convert a huge population. So for him, it's still a net gain. He probably won't like want to hang out with the god of donkeys, but he's serving a goddess here, not his own interests.
Great. So I think you like extend a hand to the god of donkeys for a hoof. But the god of donkeys kind of glares at you, which is silly because any facial expression on a donkey is inherently ridiculous. And then turns to Juniper And it says, "Oh, I don't trust this one. He killed many of our kind before he came for me. You, I get a good vibe from you. Why should I trust him?"
Well, I mean, you killed a lot of his kind too. And I think, if you just like put yourself in his position, and if like what like someone that you love like had just been murdered in front of you, and you're like, someone you trusted, like your god or your goddess or yourself, abandoned yourself, then like you might go down a dark hole too. And like I think he's offering you like this is like a partnership, right? I think everyone down here's kind of got like a shit deal, and I think we kind of all have to band together to like get out of the shit.
And the god of donkeys kind of nods at you and he says, "Oh, here we did steal a lot of women and children to work in our ideal labs. They were treated very well, but we really should have asked rather than abducting. That's on us. I think you're right. There were a lot of atrocities carried out in my name. Making people try and come up with better donkey tech is really a choice that they should be making, not one that my army should have made. Maybe you're right. Maybe war is hell on both sides. Learned a lot from you today." You're right. Maybe I will. Yeah, fuck it. This is bad down here. Hail Moonhammer or whatever. And with a hoof to hand shake that echoes throughout the ages, the donkey wars are finally brought to rest. And as a cool song, which I will ask for in a minute, plays in slow motion like you're about to board a space shuttle, the new coterie of the goddess Moonhammer on her way to God Prom walks dramatically down the hall. We've got the god of bearded ladies, the god of finger puppets, the god of sick gnome abs, the god of donkeys. We've got bunny hops. We've got Juniper and Moss. We've got Butthole Farch. And of course, we have Moonhammer. Alyssa, what is the Moonhammer theme that plays as you all catch up to Zach on your way to get prepped for God Prom?
Who are you?
Zach just pulls sunglasses down. Everyone pulls sunglasses down together. And Zach just turns around and says, "Now this seems promising."
This episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons features the voices of Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter, Laura Elizabeth at EL Hamstring on Twitter, our special guest, and our DM Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and Dum-Dums and Dragons logo is by Decapitated Markers at Decapitated Marker on Twitter. Our theme songs are And Now for That Massive Coronary and Skipping Through the Orchestra Pit Part 1 by Peter Gresser, and our ad music is No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, all available at freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum-Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. But most importantly, we've got merchandise at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, or you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDUMBDICE. And tune in next week for more Dum-Dums and Dragons. Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christian Menicola, Long, the Half-Blind Prophet, James Cuellar, Charles Grams, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, One True Artistry, Orion Birchfield, Lord of Bradovic, Noel Lewis, Scott Garland, Anthony Griffin, Chet Awesome Laser, Jordan Neesmith, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Taryn Hefner, Cade Peters, Richard Cranium, Christian Mendez, Anna Zed, Fire Unfriendly, Logan, Great Dane, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.